Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into someone pretty legendary in investing, Philip A. Fisher.
Oh, absolutely. A name you hear a lot, especially in connection with, well, Warren Buffett.
Exactly. And Buffett, he doesn't praise people lightly. He actually said, "I am an eager reader of everything Phil has to say, and I recommend him to you."
That's about as strong a recommendation as you can possibly get in this field, isn't it?
It really is.
And the book we're really focusing on today, his classic Common Stocks and Uncommon Profits, it sets the stage right away.
How so?
Well, the dedication, it's dedicated to investors who do not adhere to the philosophy, "I have already made up my mind, don't confuse me with facts."
Huh. I like that. Tells you right off the bat this is about, doing the real work, keeping an open mind.
Precisely. It signals that Fisher's all about rigorous thinking, about finding the facts, not just confirming biases.
Okay, so our mission today then is to really unpack Fisher's key ideas, these concepts he laid out for, well, finding those potentially great stocks, right?
Yeah, finding them and understanding why they might be great long-term investments. It's about getting beyond the surface noise.
So where do we start? He had quite a few big ideas, maybe the 15 points. That seems like a core part of his framework.
Definitely. The 15 points, it's basically his detailed checklist, but way more than just a checklist. It's a guide for really digging deep into a company.
Deeper than just the financials, I take it.
Oh, much deeper. He wanted investors to really understand the business itself, its operations, its people, its potential. It's not just about spreadsheets.
So these points, they're designed to figure out if a company has those qualities, those sort of hidden strengths, that could lead to really good above-average profits down the line.
Exactly that. Things like, does the company have products or services with good market potential? Is the management effective? Are they committed to R&D? It's a holistic view.
Right, getting the full picture. And to get that picture, he used a method with a memorable name, the scuttlebutt method.
The scuttlebutt method. Yes. It sounds a bit old-fashioned, maybe, but the idea is timeless.
What's the core idea behind it?
It's about gathering intelligence, but not just from the official company statements or press releases. It's about talking to people.
Like who?
Well, anyone connected to the company, really. Customers, what do they really think? Competitors, what are their insights, their weaknesses? Suppliers, how reliable is the company to work with?
Even former employees.
Especially former employees sometimes. They can offer a, let's say, less varnished view of the company culture and operations. You're trying to get the ground truth.
So you're essentially trying to piece together this mosaic of information from all these different perspectives, not just taking the company's word for it.
Exactly. It's about separating the Wall Street hype from the Main Street reality, what's actually going on. The scuttlebutt method is designed to uncover those strengths and weaknesses that might not show up in an annual report.
Okay, so you do all this work, you use the 15 points, you apply the scuttlebutt method, and you find what you think is a really outstanding company. What then? Fisher wasn't about quick trades, was he?
No, absolutely not. He was a huge advocate for long-term holding. His view was, if you've done the intense work to find a truly great company, why would you sell it just because the market hiccups?
Right, you stick with it.
You stick with it. He believed the real profits came from identifying these exceptional businesses and holding on to them for the long haul through thick and thin.
He had a quote about that, didn't he?
Yes.
Something quite powerful.
He did. He wrote, let me get this right. Even in the early years, finding the really outstanding companies and staying with them through thick and thin of the market cycle has proved far more profitable to far more people than has any colorful attempt to try to buy them cheap and sell them dear.
Through thick and thin of the market cycle. That really captures it. It implies patience, discipline, ignoring the noise.
Definitely. It takes conviction, sticking with a company when the market sentiment turns negative, assuming the fundamentals haven't changed, of course.
And speaking of fundamentals, a huge part of that, for Fisher, was the people running the show, right? Management.
Oh, absolutely critical. He placed enormous emphasis on the quality, the integrity, the capability of a company's management team.
Why so much focus there?
Because, well, you can have a great product, a great market opportunity, but if the leadership isn't competent, or worse, not ethical, the company's unlikely to reach its full potential. Or it could even blow up.
So good leadership is almost like a prerequisite. It's not just a nice to have.
For Fisher, it was non-negotiable. He looked for management with a clear vision, the ability to adapt because things always change, and a solid track record. You need to trust the people steering the ship.
So when you're doing that scuttlebutt, you're trying to get a feel for the management's quality too, not just asking about sales figures.
Precisely. Are they respected? Do they have a long-term plan? Are they straight shooters? These qualitative factors were just as important to Fisher as the quantitative ones.
Okay, this makes sense. Now, we often hear about growth stocks versus value stocks. Where did Fisher's approach fit in? Was it more for finding growth companies? Or could you use his methods for value too?
That's a really good question. And the interesting thing is, Fisher's methods, the 15 points, the scuttlebutt, they're really about identifying quality businesses, regardless of the label.
So it transcends those categories.
I think so. The core principles apply whether you're looking at a company expected to grow rapidly or one that seems undervalued by the market. You're still asking, is this a fundamentally strong business? Does it have durable competitive advantages? Is the management top-notch?
So the deep dive analysis works for both. You're looking for those uncommon profits, wherever they might come from.
Exactly. It's about finding companies with the potential for superior long-term performance, whether the market currently sees them as growth or value. The quality is the key.
Got it. Another thing Fisher stressed, which feels maybe even more important today, is research and innovation.
Yes, hugely important. He saw a strong commitment to research and development, R&D, as vital.
Why? Because standing still is falling behind.
Pretty much. Continuous innovation is what fuels future growth. It keeps a company relevant, helps it maintain its competitive edge. Without it, even a successful company can eventually stagnate and fade.
And there was that chart in the book, right, about Hewlett-Packard.
Yeah, that's a great illustration. It showed periods where HP introduced significant new products.
And those correlated with sales growth.
Appeared to, yes. You could see spikes in new product introductions around like the late 30s, late 40s, early 50s. And they seemed to precede or coincide with strong sales performance. It visually drives home the point that R&D isn't just a cost, it's an investment in the future.
A very tangible example. Okay, so we've covered how to find these companies. What about when to buy them? Did Fisher have advice on timing the market?
His view on timing was, well, quite practical. He thought spending too much energy trying to perfectly time market lows was probably wasted effort.
So focus on the company, not the market's mood swings.
Largely, yes. The main thing is identifying the truly outstanding company first. Now, he wasn't against buying when a great company's stock was temporarily depressed for some reason that could be a good opportunity.
Okay.
But the bigger point was, don't let fear of short-term market wiggles stop you from investing in a business you fundamentally believe in for the long term. Finding the right company was much more important than finding the perfect day to buy it.
That feels like sound advice, less stressful too.
Yeah.
Okay, the flip side then. We've bought, we're holding long term. Does Fisher ever think it's right to sell?
Yes, he definitely did, but not casually. He had these 3 specific reasons, what he called his memorable golden rules for selling.
All right, the golden rules of selling. Let's hear them.
Okay, number 1, you sell if the company's fundamental qualities seriously deteriorate.
Meaning the original reasons for buying just aren't there anymore.
Exactly. Maybe their competitive edge erodes, management makes some bad strategic moves, the industry changes drastically against them. If the core story breaks, you reconsider.
Makes sense. What's number 2?
Number 2 is simple honesty. You sell if you realize you made a mistake in your initial analysis.
Admitting you got it wrong.
Right. Maybe your scuttlebutt missed something crucial or you overestimated their potential. It's about acknowledging the error and cutting your losses, not letting ego keep you in a bad investment.
Okay. Important discipline there. And the third reason. This one sounds a bit different.
The third one is interesting. You might sell, he said, if a truly, truly exceptional new investment opportunity comes along.
So selling a good company to buy an even better one.
Potentially, yes. If you find something with significantly greater long-term prospects, it might make sense to reallocate capital. But, and this is a big, but he stressed these opportunities are rare. It shouldn't be an excuse to constantly churn your portfolio.
Right. It has to be genuinely exceptional, not just slightly better.
Exactly. It's a high bar. So those 3 reasons, fundamental deterioration, admitting a mistake, or rare, truly superior opportunity.
That's a very clear, disciplined framework for selling. It's not about panic or market timing at all.
Not at all. It's strategic, thoughtful, and consistent with his whole philosophy.
Well, this has been fantastic, really getting into the weeds of Fisher's thinking. It's easy to see why his ideas have endured and why Buffett found them so valuable.
Absolutely.
So just to wrap up the key takeaways for you listening,
Yeah.
it's all about that deep, thorough research, the 15 points, the scuttlebutt method, really understanding the business, the management, then having the patience for long-term holding with the great ones, and finally, a very disciplined approach to selling, based on fundamentals, not fear.
Well put. It boils down to doing your homework, thinking independently, and staying patient.
And let's end with a few of those powerful quotes we touched on.
First, Buffett's endorsement. I am an eager reader of everything Phil has to say, and I recommend him to you.
Then, Fisher on holding. Even in the early years, finding the really outstanding companies and staying with them through thick and thin of the market cycle has proved far more profitable to far more people than has any colorful attempt to try to buy them cheap and sell them dear.
And finally, on the need for progress. In the modern, changing world, nothing can stand still for long. To stand still is to go backward. A company must move forward or it will wither. Strong offensive moves make the best defense.
Really potent ideas to think about. So consider how you can apply Fisher's focus on deep understanding and that long-term view to your own investment thinking, especially in the dynamic world we're in today. Thanks for joining us for the deep dive.